Okay, so in this video, we're going to focus on occupational wellness. So as we're talking specifically to college students, I think maybe let's start the conversation with how do you balance having an occupation and going to school at the same time?
Yeah. That's difficult to do, right?
Yeah.
So I would say tapping into some of those time management strategies
Yeah.
is really important. I also think navigating kind of your priorities, right? And so for a lot of students, they have to have an occupation or a part-time job or something that they're doing because financial stressors are a huge piece of being a college student. But if there is opportunities for you to reduce some of those part-time jobs or that time you're spending, maybe focusing on being a college student as your occupation is a good place to start too, right? Again, acknowledging that financial stressors are a huge piece of decision making.
Yeah, because I mean, it can become a revolving wheel a little bit where it's, okay, I have to have the job to pay for the school, but then because I have the job, I can't excel in my classes. So then I have to take the class again, which means I need more of the job to pay for it. So it can become a very stressful cycle. So I think some of it is also being mindful of the work that you're doing, if it's one that takes up a lot of time, or if you could study at it, or if you can maybe talk to your boss about more flexibility. As far as, you know, you had mentioned thinking of school like kind of like your primary occupation, maybe just reframing a little bit sometimes helps too.
Yeah.
But how you did mention creating a plan. How would you suggest setting up a plan to balance?
I think it depends on the person, right? There's lots of different options. Some students I've talked to, time blocking is really like a big thing for them. And so that's where they actually block out their schedule in like an hour, half-hour increments of like, okay, I have class at this time. I'm going to be eating at this time because that's really important. I'm sleeping at this time. And I know I have work at this time. So what am I filling in those other spaces, right? And that's those spaces to excel academically, to study, or to socialize, or get physical activity, right? All of the other things that come with being human.
Yeah. And I tend to recommend the same idea, the block scheduling, but I always tell them, you know, fill in those non-negotiables first and then go through and fill in the things for your overall wellness. So prioritizing things like the sleep and the exercise and the social time, and then studying kind of falls in these smaller increments between, because smaller study sessions are way more effective than the hour to 2 hour blocks. And I think when people especially are working and very busy with balancing out their classes, they tend to think, well, I just don't have time to study because I need to have these big chunks to be productive. And realistically, 20 to 30 minutes is an ideal study time. So if you have 20 minutes between classes or between work and, you know, when you go to bed, doing these smaller study sessions throughout the week are a lot more effective than the big long study session.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so gearing us back, so we talked a lot about like how do you balance the two, but let's talk about, I guess, the beginning of it is like, what is our occupational wellness? What does that mean? Why is that on the wellness wheel?
Yeah, so if we think about it, right, our society is built to like work, right? We have to work to pay bills, to like do the things we want to do. And so occupational wellness is really exploring careers that really fill you with joy or are filling you in whatever your goals are, right? So if financial well-being is like your top goal, then looking at careers that are going to help with that. Or if it's really filling your soul up, maybe it's not really the money that you're looking for, it's something else, right? Or you really enjoy biology, or you really enjoy like nursing, right? There's different spaces that fill us up. And so it's where are we going to spend our time and our energy? And then also, what is that balance with the rest of the things that we want to be doing, right? So it's kind of that work-life balance or the work-life integration that we have for 40, 50, 60 years after college. Yeah.
And I mean, that's so relevant to this conversation specific to college students, because this is the time that you figure it out. And I'll be honest, I didn't figure it out until after I had the degree. I was like, I knew ideas or topics that I was interested in. I spent a lot of time studying about the brain and the body, but then I got done, I was like, I don't know what I want to do yet. And it happens. So I think that's the other thing too, is college is that time where you're trying to figure it out and take things at are of interest to you. And I think everybody thinks you have to, well, not everybody, but it is common. I feel like that students come in thinking, I already have to know exactly what I want my future to look like. And then it gets very stressful when they start taking those classes and it doesn't excite them anymore.
They don't like it.
And they don't like it. And so there's that fear of, but this is the path I picked, of being locked in. So I guess that's, I want to acknowledge that you don't have to be locked in. I love my job. And I didn't figure it out until after I had a bachelor's degree. It wasn't until I started being a professional tutor. I'm like, oh, I really love working with students.
Sure.
And so I think one of the other ends of this occupational wellness, especially for the college conversation, is how do you pick the path and how do you evaluate when maybe the path isn't the right one?
Yeah, I think it is dependent for everyone, right? I think those exploring future priorities is a big one, right? But also, I would really suggest people think about like what fulfills them, right? When we think about overall well-being, it's what is going to lead to the path of fulfillment. And so what does bring you joy? And if you're like just like miserable in this class, like maybe it is time to explore. Is it just because it's like this teaching style or this particular topic?
Or you got a group project.
Like, yes, those group projects.
Sorry for those of you who assigned group projects. I think one of the things that you're getting at too is like it could be more information is needed. Yeah. So maybe it is just that one class. So one of the other things too that I think would be a high priority is go shadow, do the thing, talk to more people, talk to other instructors in the department. Yeah. Exploring has more potential than just being the guide that your high school teacher laid out, you know, like the counseling center, maybe like you took some tests and said, oh, you would be good at this, is, trying and going back to one of our other videos where it's like interacting with people from different areas of life. And maybe there's a career out there that you didn't even know existed.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go to those different activities. Go like talk to people that are in different courses than you are. Talk to academic advisors, right? They're there to support you.
I knew I was forgetting something. There's a person who does this job. Yes. Talk to them. They're very helpful.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on occupational wellness?
Don't think so.
All right.